Yo, what's up guys? So today we're going to be showcasing off a pure variant of Time Thief because now you can actually play them as a standalone pure archetype because previously they just simply didn't have the amount of cards that were required to actually build that deck out of them. But anyways, courtesy of Beyond over here, we're going to be checking out some of the newer cards in action like Time Thief Retrograde, which is going to be able to negate a spell or trap and then attach it to your Time Thief Redo as material, or technically we can go for Perpetua, which is the newer Exceed monster that just came out, but we'll also showcase that off in action here. But basically, we're going to be able to get a bunch of free attachments on Redoer and also basically have him reoccur. So he can already pretty much make himself immune to being able to get wrecked. Basically, how he works is kind of like a wind-up rabbit almost. If anything goes on the field, you're just going to go ahead and bounce back himself, and then he's going to come back later down the line. But if you have a trap card, you're going to actually bounce back one of your opponent's cards, or if you happen to have a spell, you get to actually draw a card, and if it's a monster, you banish this card until the end phase. So basically, he's very difficult to get rid of, and he is going to be the card that makes the archetype as of right now. I'm surprised they didn't get a Link monster, but surprisingly enough, Perpetua, which you guys will see very soon over here, is going to be able to recycle quite well. Basically, it brings back Redoer, and then Redoer gets to reattach the attachments, and he becomes more viable. And also, Perpetua basically gives him more material, so he's going to go ahead and just say GG, because he's just like, okay, at this point, I can't win. He's got lots of win, he's also got the Ogre here. But there's a few other cards, like for example, the Time Thief Startup lets you go ahead and actually pull off some of these plays if one of your plays does get stopped. You kind of have like another rebuttal in the deck as of right now. But I also want to show you guys another matchup. This is probably one of the worst matchups for this deck, though, is anything that would tribute your cards. But obviously the deck is very resilient, and to show how resilient the deck is, meaning that she just keeps on coming back, this is going to be an excellent example over here. So his opponent has Lair of Darkness, and that's the point of his deck. But I don't feel like Time Thieves, as of right now, are able to stun enough or OTK hard enough without mixing it in an archetype, but I did want to showcase off some of the newer cards. So this duel will see the new Exceed monster. So like I said before, at any point as a quick effect, you're just going to be able to make him go away and come right back, as long as you have a monster attached. And of course, when you make him the first time, you're going to have a monster attached to him. So his opponent does activate Monster Gate, and again, that's like the only way you're going to be able to consistently get rid of him. But he goes ahead and calls spells for the Eradicator Epidemic Virus, and he goes ahead and makes a Link Karibo, and he's got double of the Torment tokens. But the three standard like Time Thief cards are still really strong in Raid Raptors and like an Orcus variant, which I do plan to cover. For this one, I just wanted to cover the pure variant of the archetype. But anyways, now we have Perpetua. So important thing. So what Perpetua does is during the standby phase, you detach a material from this card, target any Time Thief monster in graveyard, and then you use a special summon. And as a quick effect, you can target one other Exceed monster you control and attach one Time Thief card from your deck to it as material. So essentially that lets you get whatever effect you want, whether you want to draw one card, whether you want to go ahead and bounce back one card, or of course be able to tag yourself out. But pretty much all it's going to do is bring back Redoer, and then we also have Flyback over here. You're going to attach another Time Thief card from your hand or deck to it as material. Flyback was another one of the older cards, but it didn't really see too much play. All people really wanted to do was go for Orcus combo at that point, and then go for Shade Brig, and then basically bounce back one. But as the deck itself, it doesn't have the ability to really stun your opponent and lock them out of doing anything. Yes, I understand with Retrograde you can stop one spell or trap, but now with Yuigoh, you got to be able to stop like 3 to 4 things turn one to really be considered a very strong deck. But looking at this board right now, it might not be the easiest thing to deal with, but now we have the Phoenix going to go ahead and finally get rid of that Lair of Darkness, and he's going to go ahead and make the Mech Knight Crusadia Avermax, and that's going to be really strong because this card cannot be targeted with card effects, so that makes it much more difficult obviously for his opponent to really deal with him. And then on top of this, the Masquerena over here, because his opponent did try to activate the effect, it has this effect where a Link monster that was linked to someone using this card as Link material cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effect. So he can't be targeted and it cannot be destroyed by his opponent's card effect. So he's just trying to really utilize, just trying to survive at this point. But the Winder is just going to come out, and pretty much is going to be GG over here. And on top of that, this card, by the way, guys, is just another like level 4. I do want to also talk about a little bit about the deck profile, because there's some stuff that I didn't get to see in the replays. But thank you, Beyond, for showing off the newer Time Thief cards. But there was one tech card that I thought was actually quite interesting. So this is Anki Karibo. So when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you discard this card and target a monster in either graveyard except for itself, and then you could just special summon it to your field. But send it to the end, send it to the graveyard during the end phase. And if this card is destroyed by battle by card effect, you get to add a monster reborn. But really, we're here for the first part of the effect, where you get to discard this card, target a monster, which of course will be Redoer, or I mean, if you can have something else that can technically attach, maybe with retrograde if they activate something else, but more likely it's going to be, of course, going for your Redoer. And then the idea is to target a Time Thief Exceed monster you control and then attach a card instantly, and that will not only fill up your graveyard potentially with some of the stuff, which can technically have some synergy. And I'm just thinking that maybe you can even throw in like a another engine over here. You can throw an Engage. You can just throw in the Sky Striker engine over here. Again, you're just trying to fill up the grave with extra stuff, and then maybe either draw the card or just use this effect more likely for getting another monster. Because the monsters do have that ability to kind of reoccur. Well, this is a card that I really like opening up with. But of course, with Bezelship, you have that effect where, as a quick effect, you can tribute this card and target a Time Thief Exceed monster you control, and then attach one card from your opponent's graveyard to it. So there is some utility with it, but I thought this card was really cool. It's a really great tech. There's other cards in here that were just like level 4s over here, which I think that you can definitely see that it's basically a rank 4 deck. But again, I think a Time Thief Redo or Pass is probably not going to be the most competitive thing right now in 2019. But I was hoping that some of their effects would have like more bonus effects in the grave when you banish them. Like this card over here, Time Thief Start Off, you can just special summon a Time Thief monster from your hand, and then during your main phase, you can banish this card from the graveyard and target a Time Thief Exceed monster you control, and you can attach 3 Time Thief cards, 1 monster, 1 spell, and 1 trap to it from your graveyard to it as material. So that's actually an insane effect. You get to attach like, you know, 1 of each. That can be very, very good. I wish this card effect, that other part of it was during either player's turn, you were able to do that, as well as like Time Thief Retrograde. I wish I had like some banish effect of like, you could banish it to, you know, attach a material like a monster, because this one does stop spells and traps, maybe attach something else, or just any other bonus effect really to make the deck a little bit more competitive. But as of right now, let me go and give you the deck profile from the one you guys did see, and I'll talk about some other things that you guys can swap in and out. So first off, we're just playing a 3-winder, and then 3 of this card is just another special summon card. And then we've got Kage, and then Bezelship. If you wanted to play more Kage, because they are all darks, you can definitely think about running Allure of Darkness. That could be an option. And so yeah, and then we got 3 Bezelships, 3 Regulator, and then we got the Ash Blossom, then Ghost Ogre, and then Anki Karibo, and then 2 copies of Instant Fusion. I really like as an option running Thousand Eyes, just to absorb one of your opponent's cards. And then we got Regeki, Foolish, we got Reborn, 2 copies of the World Legacy Inheritor, and then we got 2 copies of Designator, and then 3 copies of the Time Thief Start Off, which is one of the newer cards. And we also have Time Thief Hack that makes it so when you summon your Exceed monsters, they cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects, and your opponent cannot target them with card effects, only during the turn that they are summoned. If it was forever, they would have a lot better chance. And like, I feel like if this also gave them like, you know, a small amount of attack boost over here, which it does technically, it says you can target a face-up monster you control, it gains 300 attack for each material attached to it until the end of this turn. But I wish it was just like permanent, because the card's just going to be coming back. It's going to go away and then come back, and then at that point, well, it's not going to have the material anyway. So I wish it just said like all Time Thieves gain like a certain amount of attack. That would actually help out the archetype quite a bit. It would have to be like at least like 500 for it to be like really solid, but nonetheless, we also have Time Thief Flyback, and then we have Lost Wind. I think Impermanence would probably be an overall much better option. And then we have the Phantom Knights of Shade. Like I said before, this is like where the deck actually saw play in competitive decks. And then we have the Powerhold, the Moving Battery. This really comes down to just being a level 4 that you can summon. I would probably recommend like Photon Thrasher, because this would just be too slow for setups. That's just the way I personally see it. So I would personally cut this card out and probably throw in some Impermanences as well. And then we have the Retrograde, which I think is an excellent card. I wish it stopped monsters effects too. This would make it so much better. And the unfortunate part with the whole Time Thief archetype is because you are going to dodge a lot of times your opponent's stuff, all of the material that you have, like if you have if you absorb your opponent's like spell, unfortunately when you dodge something because the monster's going to go away, it comes around to your turn, you don't have access to activating that other effect because you just lost out your material. So I really wish that like it would keep the material somehow, but that's just how Exceeds work. So maybe if it was like a Link monster instead or something like that, it would have been just much better overall. Like instead of it like dodging going away, it would just be immune to something. I think that that's what the deck actually needed. It needed this card to be like a Link monster, and it would just be like immune to being destroyed for like the entire turn. But then it would maybe be too OP. But I feel like that's really what the deck needs. I mean, everything needs to be OP in Yu-Gi-Oh! For people that actually want to run it. Then we have Mud Dragon, King of the Swamp over here. Then we have Time Thief Redoer, and then Perpetua at 2. And then we've got the Abramax, we've got Borlo Dragon, and then Topologic Boros. We got the Nightmare Phoenix, Cerberus, and the Masquerena over here, which you guys did see. So this is more so for Link plays, but primarily most of the time, it's just going to be summon this card. Then once this card goes away, you summon this card, which brings back this card. At the end of the day, basically, you just keep on dodging things and just keep on absorbing things until you win the game. That is kind of the goal. You could technically deck out your opponent with this deck as well, so it is technically possible as an alternate win condition. But like I said, I think maybe like you need to still mix it in, but I wanted to show you guys a pure variant over here. But thanks Beyond for sending in this deck, because I haven't seen anyone play any pure variants of Time Thieves. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like on it. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button, turn on that bell so you don't miss out on new Yu-Gi-Oh! Gameplays as well as deck profiles. And if you guys do want to send me in any other replays, feel free to go ahead and do so at azneyesreplays@gmail.com. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one, and I'm signing out. Peace.